There's a country that is not recognized by any other country in the world, but still it exists, and the 360,000 people that inhabit it guarantee they are a real country.
They have their own currency that only has value in there, and a passport that no other country accepts as valid.
Transnistria is a region inside Moldova, considered the poorest country in Europe. For the Moldovan government, Transnistria is a part of the Moldovan Republic, while for the Transnistrian citizens, they are an independent country aligned with Russia, still living in the Soviet Union era.
In the early 1990s, Transnistria did like several other tiny territories in the post-Soviet space and declared independence, deciding it wanted nothing to do with Moldova. Moldova leans towards its almost twin sister, Romania, with language and culture being very similar and also historically has been quite a rural society. Transnistria, on the other hand, is quite different in both aspects.
During communism, it was a relative industrial powerhouse with factories, power plants, and key military industries located there. It became the economic backbone of the Moldovan Socialist Soviet Republic and produced a disproportionate share of Moldova's industrial output and electricity. As a result, Transnistria was and remains pretty urban. An estimated 130,000 or one-third of its population live in Tiraspol, its capital. So although small, Transnistria has a comparable population density and a greater urban population percentage than Moldova. And culturally, it has very little to do with Moldova, being aligned with Russia all the way.
Transnistria's population is split between ethnic Russians, Russian-speaking Moldovans, and Ukrainians, and they speak Russian there. Some people understand Moldovan and some speak a little bit of Ukrainian, but Russian is the only language there. Virtually every sign, billboard, and storefront in the city is written in Cyrillic, and good luck finding anything in English.
And that distinction matters, because as the Soviet Union began to collapse, Moldova saw a sudden revival of its Romanian language and identity. It adopted a national flag which mirrored the tricolor of Romania. It made Romanian the sole official language, and there's a debate surrounding a possible reunification of the two countries that gained pace and is still alive to this day, some believing it may occur till to 2030. This directly contradicted Moldova's Soviet-era program of Moldovanization, which saw attempts by the communist government to make Moldova seem ethnically distinct from Romania. And for Transnistria, the friendly ties between independent Moldova and Romania were deeply alarming. Its residents feared losing their status, their language rights, and their economic ties to Moscow. So in 1990, leaders in Transnistria declared independence, forming the Pridnestrovian Moldovan Republic. They wanted to remain part of the Soviet Union. Moldova rejected this, but at first no one fought. Real war erupts in March 1992, when Moldova is officially admitted to the United Nations.
After intense fighting and a lot of casualties, both sides signed a ceasefire agreement on July 21st. Presidents Yeltsin of Russia and Snegro of Moldova put their names to it. A joint commission of Russian, Moldovan, and Transnistrian troops was created to keep the peace.
The war killed roughly 1,000 people, with 3,000 wounded. Transnistria remained unrecognized by the whole world, but controls its territory with Russian military backing. Moldova, defeated and exhausted, wrote neutrality into its constitution. And so, Transnistria became a de facto independent state, and also one of the weirdest territorial entities in the world. The territory has its own police, a state flag, and a national emblem. It has its own currency, the valueless Transnistria ruble. It has its own president and its own parliament, the 33-member Supreme Council. It also has its own army. Walking in Tiraspol, you will definitely see men and women dressed in army attire. I mean everywhere, any time of the day, in the heating summer and freezing winter. It is like a national pride to wear an army attire. The armed forces of Transnistria have 5,000 active soldiers. The Russian army stays in place, a permanent reminder of who won the war. And to this day, there are around 1,000 to 1,500 Russian soldiers in Transnistria.
This is one of the most significant landmarks in this beautiful and forgotten place, the Memorial Slavy, or Memorial of Glory. This extraordinary monument stands as a powerful symbol of the struggles, sacrifices, and historical events that shaped the region. The Memorial of Glory was inaugurated on February 23, 1972, on the Defender of the Fatherland's Day, a date deliberately chosen to honor Soviet military traditions. The site itself carries historical weight, having served in the 1920s as a burial place for Grigory Kotovsky, a cavalry commissioner who died defending Tiraspol during the Russian Civil War. The sacred ground became the ideal location for what would become a comprehensive memorial complex dedicated to remembering those who fell in all major conflicts.
The creation of the memorial was a community effort reflecting the Soviet values of collective participation. Citizens from all walks of life, office workers, employees of local enterprises, and students from educational institutions, they all volunteered their time and energy. After their regular work shifts, these individuals dedicated 5 hours daily to this beautiful construction project. The sculptors Leonid Fishbein and Gary Fife designed the monument.
The Memorial of Glory is not a single monument, but rather a comprehensive complex with multiple symbolic elements. At its heart lies a tomb of the unknown soldier, flanked by an eternal flame that was ceremonially lit by Mikhail Harin, a veteran of the Second Yassi-Kishinev offensive. This eternal flame represents the perpetual memory of those who gave their lives defending their homeland.
One of the most striking features is a decommissioned T-34-85 tank, a legendary Soviet weapon that carries its own compelling narrative. This particular tank saw combat in Hungary during World War II under the command of Lieutenant Boris Sergeyev, who died during the Budapest offensive in early 1945. According to his father's wishes, this machine was transported back to the Soviet Union and now stands as a permanent fixture as the memorial in the center of Tiraspol. Beneath the tank rests a capsule containing soil from Volgograd, symbolically connecting the memorial to the broader Soviet victory narrative.
What distinguishes Memorial Slavy is that it honors 3 distinct historical conflicts. The primary focus remains on the Second World War. The memorial also commemorates the Soviet-Afghan War, which lasted from 1979 to 1989, through a dedicated monument to Afghan warriors added in 1995. But the most important section of the memorial, at least to the Transnistrian citizens, is the part that honors the victims of the Transnistria War of 1990 to 1992, a brief but violent conflict that established Transnistria's independence from Moldova and that is still fresh in the memory of most of the population. When the memorial opened in 1972, staff from the Tiraspol Museum of History and Local Lore wrote approximately 900 letters to the families and friends of the soldiers being laid to rest at the complex. The last burials at the monument occurred in 1992, with notable figures including Nikolai Ostapenko, a regional consul head that perished in the Transnistrian War.
Between 2009 and 2010, the memorial underwent significant reconstruction, with 1.2 million rubles allocated for restoration work. This renovation process created the Wall of Memory, an important addition featuring the names of all Transnistrian defenders who died during the 1990-1992 conflict. A sculpture of the grieving mother was also added, providing emotional resonance to the monument. In October 2011, the Chapel of St. George the Victorious was built and then consecrated, adding now a spiritual dimension to the memorial.
The Memorial Slavy stands as more than just a monument. It represents Transnistria's complex identity and its deeply embedded Soviet legacy. It preserves memories of three different eras of conflict, suffering and struggle, while maintaining the aesthetic and ideological framework of Soviet monumental architecture. For visitors, it provides invaluable insight into how this frozen region continues to honor its historical conscience while remaining perpetually connected to its Soviet past.
Despite its lack of international recognition and its location within Europe's poorest nation, Transnistria possesses a unique charm that often surprises visitors. It is like visiting a place frozen in time, but in a good and surprising way. This unacknowledged territory, with its own currency, passport, and government, represents far more than a geopolitical anomaly. It is a living proof of resilience and cultural pride.
What makes Transnistria truly special, it's not its political status, but the warmth and hospitality of its people. Transnistrian citizens are remarkably open to tourists and those interested in understanding their history and way of life. Unlike many post-conflict regions, Transnistria welcomes visitors with genuine enthusiasm, eager to share their stories and their perspective on the events that shaped their nation.
The region is undeniably beautiful, with architecture that captures a specific moment in time and landscapes that reflect both Soviet industrial heritage and a natural charm. Walking through Tiraspol, visitors encounter a vibrant urban center frozen in the Soviet aesthetic, where monuments like the Memorial Slavy stands as a powerful reminder of collective memory and sacrifice.
Transnistria's greatest treasure is perhaps its living history. The scars of the 1990 to 1992 war remain visible, but they coexist with optimism and daily life. Here, one can experience Soviet culture in its most authentic form, not as a museum exhibit, but as a genuine ongoing reality. The Cyrillic signs, the Soviet monuments, the military presence, and the revolutionary spirit all contribute to an atmosphere that feels genuinely distinct from anywhere else in Europe.
For travelers seeking real experience and meaningful encounters, Transnistria offers something invaluable, a chance to meet a proud people who keep their identity against all odds and to understand the complex corner of European history through the eyes of those who lived it. We interviewed Vova, a little boy from Transnistria. This is what he has to say to you.
Как тебя зовут? А сколько тебе лет?
9.
Откуда ты?
Из Тирасполя.
Хорошо, что такое Тирасполь? Где это вообще находится?
В Молдове.
Это именно Молдова или это Приднестровье?
Это Приднестровье. Это страна, которой нету на карте.
Тебе нравится жить в Приднестровье?
Да. Вообще тут очень красиво. Природа, много зданий красивых.
Куда ты любишь ходить здесь?
Люблю по центру. Хожу возле коня, хожу возле танка
Ходишь с друзьями или один?
с семьей.